Manchester United being investigated for something only Manchester United could do. We are just a little bit of a banter club at the moment. Reports and more reports are coming out from more reliable people about Guirassy to Manchester United. Some more reliable sources saying, look, this could seriously happen in January. We'll give you the latest on that. Donny van de Beek set to be leaving and maybe going to Juventus in January. We've got a little bit of news about Kobbie Mainoo, his future. His future could end a certain Man United star's career. Ten Hag then spoke about Mainoo and Onana in his press conference. And we've got a few details on Malacia and why he's been out for so long. So please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. And let's get into the video. So this was a report. Manchester United are being investigated by the Trafford Council after several people claim they were made ill after being served raw chicken at an event at Old Trafford. This is like the most Man United story ever. This is the story that's broken tonight about Man United being investigated for serving raw chicken. Nothing to do with football, nothing to do with transfers. Just represents how this club has been run the last 18 years under the Glazers. We've now got a raw chicken investigation going on. It's not really a news story, and it's not funny, but it's like that ironic kind of funny when it's like only Man United. So I have to say, we were getting cooked on the pitch, but we weren't cooking properly inside Old Trafford, were we? We were not. So yeah, football's been a bit raw, chicken's been a bit raw. United, come on. It's just classic United as well. But I want to get to the transfer news, I want to get to the Mainoo news, I want to get into a few other things. And on a serious note, I hope that everyone who ate the raw chicken is okay, because food poisoning is not fun. But there was a lot of reports that Man United were really close and really interested in Guirassy, who's available for £15 million release clause, and Christian Falk, who outside of the Bundesliga, not reliable. Inside the Bundesliga, pretty reliable. Said true. Manchester United are interested in Serhou Guirassy, who's 27. He has a release clause of 17.5 million euros with 15 goals. He's the second best striker in the Bundesliga after Harry Kane. Ed Aarons also said that United had made contact with Guirassy's agent to sound out a potential January move, and Guirassy is available for a cut price of 15.1 million because of a release clause included when he joined Rennes. I think it's Guirassy. I heard someone say Guirassy and I heard someone say Guirassy. So we're going to say Guirassy. So I apologise if that's wrong. I'm not super familiar with the guy. It was said again by Bill that United are hot on Guirassy. They are watching him intensively. Guirassy is flattered by the interest from United, and a move to Man United in January is not ruled out. He dreams of playing in the Premier League. And then we also got rumours of Donny van de Beek being offered on loan to Juventus for 6 months. So all in all, Donny, if I'm Donny van de Beek, his biggest problem is he's waiting for a big loan like Juventus. If you're waiting for a big loan, there's a chance you might be on the bench again. Just go to a smaller club, get the minutes in, bish, bash, bosh, gone. But on Guirassy, he's not a player I know lots about. I don't watch loads of the Bundesliga unless it's the teams that are in the Champions League. But H said this, and I think this is sort of a good overview of it. He said his overall game is actually quite good, but his overall performance in front of goal this season is scary for a player who's never been a top-end consistent finisher. It would be really risky to take a gamble on this so far. His goal catalogue this season is beautiful, and I actually hope he can somewhat keep this form up, because he's been top to watch. 17 shots on target, 6.3 XG over performance, 15 goals this season. He's basically statistically been the most clinical striker in Europe this season, but the last 2 or 3 seasons he's not even been in the top 20 strikers or top 30 strikers statistically for like clinicalness, but this season he is. So is he going through a purple patch? Is he going through that moment where you see some players have a really good like 6 months and then go, or is actually he's just a late bloomer? And could he come to United and be this clinical as well? That would be nice. From what I've watched of him, he looks like a decent guy, but it's such a risk because it's like he's only been good now. If he's 23, you're thinking, get him in. If he's 22, you're thinking get him in. But when he's 27, you're like, this is a bit of a risk as well. Now, talking of a young player that's going to be a star, a young player that's fantastic, Kobbie Mainoo. There was a report that came out saying Kobbie Mainoo could end Man United player careers while saving United millions. And this is sort of a report that delves into the fact that Kobbie Mainoo could push Casemiro out the squad. And although Casemiro is not going anywhere in January, he could be allowed to leave in the summer because Ten Hag views Kobbie Mainoo a lot higher than Amrabat and Casemiro. And Ten Hag actually said after the Everton game about Kobbie Mainoo, he's our 6. He was good in possession. He was good in build-up. He led this. He led that. That's what I expect my number 6 to do. Whereas he had been a bit critical of Casemiro, saying, I wanted to play football. I subbed Casemiro. And there is reports and rumours that Ten Hag views Kobbie Mainoo as the 6 and already prefers him to sort of Amrabat and Casemiro because of the player he is. But it was said today, Kobbie Mainoo's spectacular emergence is good news for everyone at Man United, but the teenager could end Old Trafford careers of two of Erik ten Hag's most experienced stars. It said against Everton, the 18-year-old delivered a mature display with class and composure in the holding role, usually occupied by Brazilian star Casemiro and on-loan star Amrabat. Former Real Madrid star and five-time Champions League winner Casemiro has failed to repeat his first season impact on the Old Trafford campaign, and he's fallen short of his own high standards, partly but he is injured now, so it's not really his fault, but he was poor. I don't think it was necessarily Casemiro's fault. I just think the whole team was poor, and then Casemiro was being asked to do way too much and cover way too much ground that ultimately, I think the way that we set up didn't help Casemiro, but he had dropped off, but also the whole team had dropped off. But yeah, Casemiro's not been as good this season, and questions are sort of being asked about Casemiro, with obviously Jim Ratcliffe already questioning, why we spent 70 million on Casemiro. Jim Ratcliffe wants those expensive high-wage players out, and apparently isn't Casemiro's biggest fan. So with Mainoo's Premier League debut looking good, with Mainoo looking great versus Galatasaray, and with Mainoo really playing a lot in pre-season, and what we know about Ten Hag and how highly he rates Mainoo, there's a feeling that, Amrabat's not going to stay, and Casemiro could be allowed to go in the summer, because Ten Hag views Mainoo as sort of the long-term option, which is why we've been looking at players more like Amadou Onana than actual sixes, because Ten Hag rates Mainoo scarily high. Obviously, Mainoo's got to keep this up. He's got to be consistent. He does have an injury record. We'll definitely need another DM on top of Mainoo. But he said that Casemiro and Amrabat's future at United are at risk because Ten Hag really views Kobbie Mainoo highly. And Ten Hag even made some comments on Kobbie Mainoo in the press conference today. He said on Mainoo, if he's ready or not, he showed on Sunday he was ready, and then we have to manage 3 games in 6 days to get the best results of all the games. We have more than 11 players. We have good options there. Amrabat showed he was playing a good game. We have to manage the load of players. It's about freshness as well. And I agree with Ten Hag. I agree with not starting Mainoo versus Galatasaray, 1, because I thought Amrabat had a really good solid half, but 2, Mainoo's just come back from a long-term injury. You can't have him starting 3 games in a row. You've got to manage him well, taking him off early versus Everton, putting him on late versus Galatasaray. We want him to play versus Newcastle, we want him to play versus Chelsea, but we don't want him to get injured. And Ten Hag spoke about Mainoo and what impresses him, and he said his scanning, it looks like he always has time, because he is scanning, he's running free, he is scanning to see the right options and make the right decisions, can delay, he can speed up, he can make the right decisions. And that's what makes Kobbie Mainoo so special. He's so mature on the ball. First of all, he uses his body so well to evade the press. Second of all, he keeps the ball so well. He's so calm. He's so composed on the ball. When the rest of the United team is kind of irrational and we have no control. And it's the way that he just scans around. He looks for the right pass. He looks for the right ball. He doesn't give the ball away like all the other players. His retention, his build-up, his progression, his ability to cover ground, the way he uses his body is so mature, and I like that from Ten Hag. Ten Hag also spoke about Onana, who's sort of the media scapegoat this week, and Onana, has been diabolical in the Champions League, and Onana is 100% to blame if we don't get out of the Champions League group, although I don't think we've been amazing enough and we are conceding loads of shots. I will say Onana's at fault, but I think the Onana sticker's going a bit out of hand, because I think actually he's been pretty good lately, bar those mistakes. And Ten Hag said this on Onana, if you analyse it, well, then you actually see that he's the second best goalkeeper in the Premier League based on stats. His expected preventing goals is the second best in the Premier League. He's doing well, but he knows the Champions League. He's made more mistakes, but it's all over the first 5 months he's done well. And I said this on Onana, and this was actually my tweet on Onana and my opinion on the situation. I said, Andre Onana is receiving all the heat after another UCL mistake, but I personally believe he's just becoming the new media scapegoat. The reality is that Man United have conceded 71 shots in the last 4 games, which is 17.8 shots a game, which is absolutely horrific. So get over this Lindelof obsession. Play around with Maguire, please. Anyway, continuing on, I said instead of going in on the goalkeeper and making the ridiculous hair comparisons that are just so forced, the focus should be on why we're so open at the back and why Onana has so much to do. Onana's made countless mistakes in the UCL, and if it weren't for that, we would have qualified for the round of 16. So I'm not saying Onana's blameless, but in the last 10 games or so, Onana has been faultless, making so many big saves. Andre Onana's in the top 2 for save percentage and XG presented this season. He hasn't put a foot wrong in the Premier League. I'm generally not worried about Onana. I think he's having an underrated season that's being overshadowed by a UCL mistake. I'm worried about why the midfield is so open, and that is because the way we set up with the 8 so far advanced, that Kobbie Mainoo's got so much to do. We can get played through so easily. Why we have so little control when we're leading, and why we are conceding so many shots, and a lot more than anything else. The concern for me is the midfield and the defence, more than Andre Onana right now. And I think Andre Onana is just becoming that easy media scapegoat, that easy focal point. But I think we've got so many bigger things to worry about right now. Which brings me into my final story. Tyrell Malacia was set to return in November, but he's had a big setback. No one really knows what the Tyrell Malacia injury is. Is it an ACL? Is it this? Is it that? United are keeping it very quiet. You've got all the parody accounts that make jokes about Malacia and Rashford, which are quite funny. But I think maybe he's done an ACL and United want to keep it quiet, because if he's had or something like that, or he's had a bad injury, and United just want to kind of keep it quiet a little bit what it is. Because one thing that Man United have come out saying, look, if they know Martinez has got a problem with his foot, opponents will target his foot. If they know this player's got a problem with their knee, opponents will target their knee. So United are trying to be really careful if it's a big injury, not giving it away. And it was said on Malacia that Malacia is on course to return to action early next year as he recovers from a knee injury. The Dutch left-back has not played so far this season following an operation over the summer. He's literally not kicked the football since like May. Unfortunately, he suffered a setback during his rehabilitation, which required further surgery. This has been successfully completed, and Malacia is now back at Carrington working hard and should be fit early in the new year. The Malacia's injury has been so long; it's been so horrid, and I feel sorry for the guy who's been out for so long. It'd be good to have Malacia back. I think that he's actually was pretty solid for us last season, but he's not played this season due to injuries. Anyway, people, that was a really loud clap. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe down below if you're new. This is all the latest Manchester United news today. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.